welcome to a new incubation Q&A. Today we are discussing trailers. And our guest today is Gilles van Leeuwen. Thank you, Gilles, for joining us. Could you start by giving a small introduction about yourself?
I'm Gilles, and I'm a filmmaker and cameraman. I graduated from Art Academy in 2013. And since then I've been making video content, all kinds of video content.
Good.
And I also made some game trailers.
Some game trailers, quite a lot actually, and we're going to show you a couple today first. So first one I wanted to show was Bounden, which is a kind of a live action trailer. Cool. Secondly, we're just going to show 3 trailers in the beginning. More of an gameplay edit trailer. And the third one I wanted to show you was another gameplay, kind of a release trailer, Interloper by Monogon. Three very different trailers, very different approaches. We'll probably talk about those approaches during today's talk. So let's start with the basics. A game company comes up to you and says, "Hey, Gilles, we want a trailer." Mm-hmm. You say, "Cool." What happens then?
I think the first thing that happens is that you kind of have to have a conversation, because I don't know the game, so I really need to learn what the game is about. And if I learn what the game is about, I can give kind of a new, fresh look, and my look, because I'm not that much of a hardcore gamer, of how to explain the game.
Is it important to be a gamer as a trailer editor, trailer maker?
I don't think so, because I think some of these work pretty well, and I'm not a gamer, so.
But maybe it's even better not to be a gamer.
Maybe it's even better, because I say things that a gamer would never say, and I miss maybe some things, and so I ask some questions, some really stupid, obvious ones.
What kind of questions? What are the first questions do you ask when you get into that conversation?
But the first thing is, what is this game? You know, what is this game about? That's the first thing. And then they have to explain to me what the game is about. And often they have to use more simple words, because I don't know all this terminology, and I think that really helps for the other side to, again, tell the story again and make it even more clear.
Next question would probably be, what is the trailer for?
Yeah, because it has a different use case. For example, for the last one, we made a few trailers. So one was only an announcement trailer So that had very little gameplay with a lot of atmosphere and maybe some parts of how the game works, but not a lot of gameplay. And then this one has a little bit more gameplay, and then we made another video and it was only gameplay. So they have kind of different use cases.
So we're going to have a look at first the announcement trailer. Yeah, I have them both. And then the release trailer. The announcement trailer has less gameplay?
I think so, yeah. That's what I can remember. More atmosphere, I think.
Okay, let's have a look. There are clear differences. Did you make those around about the same period, or was there a time in between where you made the first one and then later the second one?
Yeah, there was quite some time in between. I think a few months, maybe 2, 3.
Okay, because the release trailer shows a lot more overview shots and gameplay during the game, and so what was the idea behind well, let's say the announcement trailer first?
I think they just needed something to talk about the game and to show it to people, like this is what we're making, or we are busy with this. And the second one was really when they were releasing it, so it explains the game much more with the text on screen.
Is it also a different audience, or just a different message that you want to convey?
Yeah, I think it's just a message. Yeah, not in this case. It's not an audience.
Do you have to think about the audience a lot when you make trailers?
I think you always do, in a sense. So you need to. I don't think I really need to know this specific gamer who plays these kind of games, because that's what they've done with the art and with the style of the game and the mechanics and all that stuff. So my part is more how to explain it or how to make it really short. So the kind of the demographics part, I think that's already pretty much covered in the game, and where they are going to show it and on which store and all that kind of stuff.
So you've had that talk, conversation, you need to make it short. What do you need to get started? What does an editor need to get started?
Yeah, this was actually the most fun. I made this one before the one with lines that we saw. Yeah. But here I asked them, what if we can just only have this animal thing? Or what if we can only have the little symbol? Because the game doesn't look like that. The game is only this overview thing. So it's a map, you see the map, and it's pretty slow. And I asked them if I could kind of have them be my actors in a way. So they are behind the computer and they can turn layers off in the game and they kind of move the camera. So that was a really nice way to work.
What kind of tools did they use or build specifically for the trailer?
Moving the camera. The parallax effect was never in the game. Turning off layers is not in the game.
Probably turning off the HUD as well.
Turning off the HUD, yeah, a lot. I think they did a lot of work just to make this trailer for me, to be able to make this kind of shots. Yeah, I don't think camera tracking as well, I think.
What is camera tracking?
Like tracking if one of these animals or things is moving, I don't know the name, then it follows this guy.
A lot of work goes into kind of the pre-production phase, basically, of a good trailer.
Yeah.
So they make all these tools, they capture a bunch of footage, or do you capture the footage? How does that work?
In this case, I think they use the NVIDIA plugin where you can capture the things you're rendering on the fly. So that's pretty nice plugin because you don't have frame rate stuff. So every frame it renders, it saves. It's not like it's playing a video and you record with a record button, because then if the game renders a few less frames, you render this. So that's really nice to make it smooth. Yeah,
because what it basically does, it doesn't screen capture, but it records it saves the frames that you render, so you get every single frame. You get a lot of, let's say, an hour of gameplay or something, and then you just start editing, or do you make choices before you start editing?
In this case, we made a lot of choices before I started editing. So I actually I wrote the whole thing. So I want to have this guy moving along the corridor and he kills someone. And I want to have a shot of just this circular egg thing and it lights up. And so I made a whole list for them. And then I edited with these parts, and we looked at it again, and then we thought, oh, maybe we need a faster part here, or maybe a little bit more over there.
Was it a complete storyboard, or just different scenes that you thought out that would be cool to incorporate in the trailer?
Well, there was a list of demands, so we need to have this mechanic in the trailer, and this and this and that. So those are things we needed to capture. And then most of the stylistic stuff, like when it's really black, those are the things I just made up. And I thought, oh, maybe that'd be nice, that'd be nice, that'd be nice. Okay. And they got really excited, so that's good.
How much time does something like that take for you personally?
I think it took a day or three, maybe, a day or three for one trailer.
With different iterations and feedback?
Yeah, because I was here at the Dutch Game Garden with them in the office, so that was really nice. Because then I'm not far away. I just sit next to them, and I have to add a computer. And
I can remember that from your time at Gamius as well, that you were in-house. Yeah. Is that the way you like to work?
Yeah. It's much faster and it's much more direct, and feedback is really fast. And if I do something they don't like, then we can correct it really fast. So yeah, best way to work. Yeah.
In a trailer like this, is there a story that you like to tell? Does there need to be a story, a middle, beginning, a middle, and an end?
I think the thing you need is some kind of build-up. So it's not really a story in a sense that someone learns something and they change and then they are a new person. But there needs to be some kind of build-up. Yeah.
So there's I would call that like a small story arc. Maybe not specifically with text, but
music is a big part as well.
Yeah, can you talk about that? How do you come to this music? How do you decide on music anyway? Like,
I think in this case, this was some of the music they used in the game, but maybe a track that wasn't really chosen for the game at the last moment, or I cannot really remember. A lot of times you use stock music. So it's just go looking for music, and then it's also nice to be there because you have different tastes, or you kind of have to figure out, what's really the right fit.
What kind of stock music sources do you use?
Quite a few, but you have Premium Beats, nice. Audio Jungle, but that's really cheap. I don't really like it, and it's really hard to find something nice.
How much does a track cost if you need a track?
I think it's $60, and what's really nice about Premium Beat is you also get stems, they call it, so it's layers. So you can only get the drum track, or only get the cymbals, or like shakers, and you get a few loops, like 6 or 7 loops from beginning, middle, end. So you can edit your entire like the story arc with all of these little changes in the music. That's really good.
Cool. I think we're going to look at a different trailer where you did something like that. We saw it in the beginning as well, but the trailer for Lines, I think this is stock music. Let's take a look at that first. So I'm going to stop it there. That was, I think, if I remember correctly, stock music, and there was a pretty long build-up, like this 35 seconds until we get to that. Do you remember how that started, or why you chose this?
I remember we looked at a few different tracks, and I think I also tried out to edit with a few of the tracks, and then we figured halfway, okay, this is not the right fit. So you need to kind of start again. But the things you see on screen you can keep, of course. You just have to change the tempo, maybe move some things around. And for this track, there is a cut somewhere. I think you can kind of hear it, where I shortened the track. I think somewhere at the end.
Let's see if we can catch it. Then we'll listen to the whole thing.
Over there.
Yeah, I heard it. It was a very small.
It's pretty clear. So sometimes you cannot really make it really smooth, but most of the time you don't hear it. And
So this is a quite abstract game. It's just lines and colors, but you still want to convey a certain mood, excitement, whatever. How do you start? Is it just browsing a lot of audio files?
But music is a big part of trailers because most of the time it's like it's the structure of the whole thing.
Why? Can you explain that?
Because it determines the edit tempo, so it also determines the speed, for sure, for the whole thing.
It determines the edit tempo because you make cuts on the beats, for instance.
You make cuts on the beats, or just after, or just you play a little bit around with the beats. But it's the most easy way to make something that works and that's nice to look at, and it's a bit short and helps you anticipate when the next cut's gonna be, so that it makes something is really short. It's much easier to watch when you kind of know the tempo really quick.
So is music the first decision that you have to make, or the most important decision?
No, yeah, it's an important decision because I cannot really start editing without the music. I can start making shots, so I can start. For this, I think we made a tool so I can record my own footage for this game. So there were some elements or key commands added to the game, so I can record the footage. So I can record some shots, but before you start editing, you really need music.
Okay. Let's take a look at a totally different type of trailer. This is by Game Oven, a game called Fingle. Let's show this was called Fingle Breaking the Ice, and then the next one is the official trailer. Let's start for Fingle. You were asked to create this trailer. Was this idea using people already present, or is that something that you brought up? How does that work?
Yeah, I think that was always really important for Adriaan that the people were in the image, because for him, and that's something he said a lot during this time, the game was not on the screen. The game was outside of the iPad. The game was here. So that's something we really needed to film. Yeah.
Yeah, you wanted the social interaction.
Yeah, that was the most important part.
gameplay-wise, if you would just show the screen as a screen capture, it would just show moving squares, and that doesn't tell you anything about the game itself.
No.
And that breaking the ice part, how did you come up with that small snippet?
I think I made that thing up pretty early, and this was also the first thing I made for any game-related thing. It's also, I think, already 7 years ago or 6. And I really wanted to make a short story that was pretty over the top. And it's not that over the top, it's kind of caricature, you know. But we didn't use that much to sell the game, I think. In the end, this is the one you use the most, because it shows the gameplay footage, and it's a bit more realistic. We made another one that was more of a story, and that was like a romance thing with fire and 2 people touching each other. So they were fun to make.
So when, like sometimes a trailer is very content-based, and sometimes it's more context-based. This is clearly more context. Is there a particular reason when you want to do one thing or the other, or can you combine them?
Yeah, I think combining them is really strong, especially in this one. I think that's really good because you can, and also with the Bound trailer, you see the footage on the screen, and you need to have both. You cannot just only have the whole atmosphere thing, I think. But for these games, it's just the obvious choice. For the other games, I don't think it adds that much, because it's not your experience as well. If I play Fingle, I kind of have this thing with you going on. And if I play the Interloper thing, I'm looking at the screen. So I think you should be close to what you are going to experience if you play the game.
What I noticed on the last one, the official trailer, is it's quite long.
Yeah, it's long. Yeah, it's really long. Yeah. Now I looked at it now. I think I would never make a trailer this long again.
Why not? What is there a perfect length, or?
I think you really need to stay under the minute. Sometimes you can do it in 30 seconds, sometimes 45. But if a game is really complex and you want to tell all these things, you can do that. But I think you should do it in another video. So make another video, yeah, and it's really clear when you look at the title and you think, okay, this is going to be long. You know, I'm going to look at this. But 1 minute 15, that's too much, man. Yeah, and because at some point you also kind of lose attention. You're like, okay, I get it. Yeah, it's clear.
I'm gonna show one more trailer that we haven't shown yet. This is from Gamius, early access trailer for Team Racing League.
Hello from the Gamius Early Access Laboratory. Let me share my screen to show you our new invention. It's racing, but in teams. Look at the vehicles going around the track. Only one team member needs to finish. The others can screw over opponents. We've come up with some special mechanics. Connect with your teammates to create boosts, pick up or drop blocks, go in anchor mode, set up roadblocks, or torch your opponents. It's all about smart tactics and true racing skills. Because honestly, who likes blue shells, Now, let's watch some highlights of me and my esteemed assistants. Franz and Hans, get this annoying guy off my back. I can cut through, but the red vehicle goes totally berserk. Who puts these red blocks here? Get rid of them! Okay, Herr Professor. Franz, now connect. And give me a boost. We have won the race. Do you like what you see? Join our testing crew in early access. And let's make the perfect team racing game. Auf Wiedersehen. Oopsie.
In that trailer, there's a lot of information to be conveyed. It's about different mechanics. They show 6 or 7 different mechanics. They talk about early access, that it's an early access release trailer. Do you remember how this came to be?
Yeah. Pim's brother, what's his name again? Jos. Sorry, Jos. He actually mailed me and he said, I have this nice idea for a trailer. And I want to come over and see if we can find a way to make this thing. Because it was pretty much his idea. And so this was a really different way of working for me. because Jos really knew what he wanted to do. He really knew what he wanted to do. So it was kind of like a director directing me, and I'm more of the one who does all the editing and all the layering and all these things, the Windows layers and stuff. So it was a nice experience because he was so precise.
He told you exactly what he wanted.
Exactly what he wanted. So we also made a lot of versions. But I like that. I like it when someone has that kind of ambition and it's really clear. And
because there's so much information. I'm looking at it now, and I was there when it was created, but there's so much information that we're trying.
It can be too much.
Yeah. Is it too much?
I think that's hard for me to see right now because I've seen it so many times, and I was there doing the edit, so it's hard. But I can imagine that it's too fast, maybe. But that was something we really worked on because when you saw all of these layers with opening all the GIFs and or GIF, if you say, and then yeah, that part, we had a lot more. So yeah, I think. But I think it still communicates pretty much what the game is about. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Unless you unconsciously think that the professor and this German thing is a part of the game now. If you watch this, then maybe it doesn't.
It has a lot of information. It has humor. It has gameplay. Yeah. So I think it's really good and it does a lot of things. But maybe, like we just said, if you want to keep a trailer under 30 seconds, this is not it.
No, but I don't think it gets boring. I mean, it doesn't. It's not like at some point maybe people in the audience can answer that. At some point you think, no, okay, now I'm done, or I don't get it, or.
When is a trailer successful in your mind?
If it's fun to watch, and if it communicates the game, that's very important. If people get a clear picture of the game, and if they want to, if they sign up, or if, you can measure those kind of things. That's not really my cup of tea, but.
You need to communicate what the game is about, and not just.
No, I think because there's so many games, and I think you really need to communicate what the game is about. Yeah. Otherwise, it's just useless.
If the group has any, I see Dan coming up already. I'm gonna give over the seat to Dan.
Hi, my name is Dan, Puzzles and Games. I have a question. What if there's nothing to work with?
I think we still need to create something to look at. So if they have nothing, they probably only have text or an idea. I think we need to find someone to draw something or animate something.
But that's not your job.
That's not my job, no. I'm more of the cameraman, editor, helping with story, music, tempo, text, helping to maybe condense text. That's also a good thing the guy could do.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Right.
Hi, I'm Tom, studio yet to be defined. Did I hear correctly that you mentioned in the start that you're not a gamer yourself?
No, I think I gamed much more when I was in high school, but at the moment, no.
But do you think it helps with extracting the message of the game while you're not an active gamer?
I think it helps because I ask really obvious, really plain, stupid questions. You're so into it as a game developer that some things for you you're blind to it.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. You mentioned that sometimes you see a trailer so many times because you're working on it for a longer time. How do you still check if what you're making is good, fun, fresh, if you've seen something 1,000 times?
That's the same thing you do with playtesting, I think. So you walk out of the room, and you walk into the next room and say, yo guys, I have this thing I need to show you. And you say nothing. Just open the laptop, press space.
And a question that I was expecting but not asked, how much does this cost?
I think a good price I think the regular price for editors is 300, 400 euros a day. And then it really depends on how fast you can make it together, I think. Because if money really is a thing, then it's much better to do it together and to do most of the work yourself. So, for example, with the Interloper trailer, they did a lot of work themselves. So we could cut the price down a lot. And then it still depends on how many... This took a lot of time, of course. It's really heavy because I need to Photoshop this thing, animate this thing, make the counter, open all those windows, put the animation in the screen.
The trailer that we showed first, Bounden, the dancing people, that must be very intensive as well.
Yeah, but it wasn't that much because all of these people are friends, and it was summer, and Adriaan made some calls, so it was. I think we only shot 2 days, and then for the people, so people dancing. So there's 2 days, and then I took a day or two to film the phone, but then it takes another maybe 2 days to animate or layer all these things together in After Effects, and
I think that's a very clear answer. Gilles van Leeuwen, thank you very much.